Thank you, Ms. Rojas. Item number 2, approve agenda of regular board meeting of October 26, 2021. Can I get a motion? Leon. And Ms. Flores. Sorry about that. Roll call. None. Motion carried. 4-0. Thank you. We move on to item number 2, open session. Item 1, pledge of allegiance. Ms. Maldonado, would you mind leading us?
All please rise. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. Item number 2, student board representative report. We have Ms. Yareli Perez and Ms. Emily Anaya.
Good afternoon. Our announcements for Van Wyck Elementary. Van Wyck is celebrating student commitment to being drug-free this week in our annual Red Ribbon Week celebrations. Each day is themed with a catchy slogan and accompanying activities. Students can scare drugs away on crazy socks and a hair day or put drugs to sleep on pajama day. Our Red Ribbon will culminate on Friday when the kids say boo to drugs by wearing their Halloween costumes and participating in a Halloween parade and costume contest. See Class Dojo and our social media platforms for more information and to see pictures of the events. Parent Conference Week is coming up November 1st through the 5th. We will be holding both virtual and in-person conferences. We will have minimum days all that week with a student-free day on Wednesday, November 3rd. This week also coincides with our Scholastic Book Fair. Currently, we have penny wars to promote the book fair and help raise funds for our school libraries. Van Wyck families can support our library with any spare change you have lying around for the penny wars or by purchasing something from our book fair. All the money will go back to building and collections in the library. Our monthly are scheduled for Friday, November 5th. Please remember to take every precaution you can to remain safe and healthy while you celebrate Halloween or go trick-or-treating. Van Wyck would also like to thank all members of the military and their families for their service and sacrifice as Veterans Day approaches.
Good afternoon. To start off our Basa High School announcements, we want to congratulate our varsity volleyball team for making it the second round of CIF. We are extremely proud of them for making it this far and putting up a fight. We would also like to applaud the cross-country team who recently just ran the second hardest course in the nation with the Mount Sac Invitational Race and are now on their way to winning another championship. The football team could not have made us any more proud now that they are on their way to become league champs for the first time since 2003. Good luck, boys. Now that fall sports are coming to an end, we are excited to start tryouts for all the winter sports. Other than sports, some of our school leaders recently met with the superintendent to discuss improvements regarding our school facilities and sports programs, and we are now working to make these enhancements a reality. To get in the Halloween spirit, our ASB team have brought out a fun spirit week for our Olympians to participate in. Our Olympians have dressed up with crazy clothes on Monday. Today we wore flannels. Tomorrow we'll be ready to dress retro. On Thursday, we'll be wearing what's trending. And finally, we'll be ending the Spirit Week on Friday with wearing our Halloween costumes, as well as a Halloween parade will be taking place during lunch in the amphitheater. That concludes all of our announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez and Ms. Anaya. We move on to item number 3, public comments related to closed session items. This is the appropriate point on the agenda for those present to speak in regards to any closed session items on the agenda. Only topics specific to the actual closed session items will be heard at this time. Topics which do not address closed session items will be heard during the open session comments. Ms. Rojas, do we have any comments for closed session? Thank you very much. Which moves us to item number 4, closed session. We will be going into closed session at 5:37.
Did you unmute? Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to us, I guess. Item number 5, reconvene to open session. The board is reconvening at 6:44. Item number 1, report of action taken in closed session. The report out of closed session. In closed session on a motion by Ms. Stanzioni and second by Mrs. Forrest, and a vote of 4 members approved and 0 members opposed. The governing board took action to reject claim for damages number 597490, as advised by a third-party administrator, TPA Keenan. Claim was received on September 22nd, 2021. Now we move on to item number 6, staff presentations, information. Item 1, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Board President, members of the board and the community. Just a couple of things. First of all, I want to start with just announcing for everyone who may not be aware, we started our esports competitions at the high school. Esports is an online gaming program where kids compete against each other in groups. One of the benefits of it is the students learn how to work collaboratively, that builds skills that they can turn over when they get jobs and careers. In addition, it provides them an opportunity to be exposed to fields, work fields within the esports, which include engineering, design, robotics, and things like that. So congratulations to the students who have started it. Second thing is, once again, I want to congratulate the girls varsity volleyball for winning league champions, as well as the cross country. And I believe the varsity football team has also won league. So we have a lot of successes with our sports this year, especially after coming back from a pandemic. So I want to give them a big shout out and congratulate them. Regarding facilities, I want to inform everyone that the board had in the past was working on putting a HVAC system in the gym at Bassett High School. That project has been submitted to DSA, the Division of State Architects. Once that gets approved by them, hopefully by the end of December, we'll go out for bid and hopefully have the HVAC installed by the end of the summer in the gym at Bassett High School. In addition, we are hoping to have the architect working on the pool project at Bassett High School here at the next board meeting in November to present to the board the renderings, the design of what's going to look like. After that, then they'll go through the process of finalizing all the designs that go with it, the construction documents, submitting a DSA, and hopefully approving that and going through the process. And that is a lengthier process. So that probably will be at least about 1.5 years for completion. But I do want the community to know that we are moving forward with those projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarez. We move on to item number 2, the Julian Elementary presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Barajas, board members, Dr. Alvarez, staff and community. Martha Arceo, I think I know everybody in here, but I'm happy to be back in person and before you to present some of our baseline data for this year. So we have the first one, just a picture of some of our students from our most recent Student of the Month Assembly. We want to see every one of our students being recognized, and our mascot, Leo the lion, there to congratulate them. We now have a program, I believe since January, iReady, which allows us to administer diagnostic assessments 3 times per year. Also allows students the opportunity to work at their level in math and reading. Although not what we want to see, here's the big picture in reading based on our iReady diagnostic that was administered to all 1st through 8th grade students this past August. We see that 51% of our students are 2 or more grade levels below in reading based on this. Although not a good thing, but our 167 students that are 1 grade level below, I would say that, you know, that is kind of what's expected of a lot of our students after the 1+ years of not being present in school. We have the highest need is on our vocabulary and comprehension. And then we reflected as the leadership team, our students, although we did our best to give them access to online reading, they did not have the opportunities to have a book in their hands, read, really be monitored and motivated to read as much as we would normally have them read while they're in school, so at present. So again, a huge need in reading based on our iReady diagnostic. iReady data allows us to dig a little deeper by grade level, by teacher and individual students. So again, every teacher has access to iReady at the click to look at, which students are where. Also, different skills that teachers, lessons that teachers could utilize in small groups to, help students move from one color to the other. Again, we see the greatest need, academic and social need for emotional and academic support here, especially with our 8th graders. Our students need a lot of motivation and encouragement at this time. And we're seeing that in all the assessments that we're giving right now. Most recently, this demonstrates our elementary benchmark. And again, the numbers are nowhere what we expect or want to see. Each of these tests are test different standards based on the grade level decisions. So these tests, these benchmarks were created by our teachers, and they have an opportunity to reflect and refine at the end of each year. But I do, the one that really stands out there is the kindergarten one. And I just want to make a note that this test is based on mastery of all, not just of what they've learned or have been taught so far. So that is our elementary benchmark results. Those are elementary. The next ones are our middle school. This is our Q1 benchmarks that were administered in September. Again, happy to see that our 6th grade results are, pretty good, but very, very concerned and have a lot of work to do with our 8th graders. As you see, 100% of them were working towards or not meeting standards. So definitely a big concern for us as a staff and as, as a district. The next page shows our math diagnostic, again for iReady, and you see a lot of red. The double lines are actually 3 or more grade levels below. So very, very, very concerning, all this red that we're seeing here. Similar to, to our reading. And that is whole schools, 1st through 8th grade. And then we see the breakdown again, and the most red with our 8th graders there, 67% in the red. Again, this is August. This is them coming back after being home for so many months. Our math benchmarks for elementary. Again, and our middle school Q1 benchmarks. And again, we see again the 8th graders just standing out with only 4% of them exceeding or meeting standards. So we have a lot of work to do, but we're not giving up. We have so many gaps to fill. Our goal is to stay the course towards our vision and mission, which we have revisited as a staff as we return this this August, to ensure that all of our students are college and career ready and that they become productive and caring citizens in their community. Our vision, our students will achieve academic excellence through becoming critical thinkers, developing good character, and strengthening their social emotional skills. actions to achieve our goals, commitments, oh, here we are. I think they're out of order here, but collaborating with grade level teams, commitment as a team to the PLC cycle of continuous improvement. And I say as a team, and I always emphasize to my staff as we talk, is that it's not about what's happening in my classroom and while my students are doing this, but what's happening as a second grade team, what's happening as a third grade team, as a fourth grade team, because these students will be moving on, you know, to a different classroom. So they're not just going to be carrying on and, you know, students are doing well in my class and so they're moving forward. It's as a team. And I'm happy to say that we have very good collaborative teams at Don Julian. We are continuously analyzing our data results. We have so many resources available to us that tell us, you know, where there are gaps in the learning. We had a district professional development on differentiating instruction, and just a reminder to our staff of the importance of working in small groups, which is a must with the needs that we have now at each school. We have intervention during the day and after school, utilizing available online resources, which we have plenty in our hands, both for reading, for math, for social emotional support. And we're very, very happy that we were able to hire 2 additional instructional assistants to support us, and they work 5.75 hours every day. So, you know, they are there the entire day to be able to support our students, both in language arts and in math. The Don Julian staff believes in our No Excuses University pledge. It's painted in our front office. We see it every day. We're committed to creating a school that knows no limits to the academic success of each student. And we have many years of experience as a team. Me as an administrator, our teachers have many, many years. We have experienced success and we've received recognition for it. We will do it again. We ended our conversation as we reviewed all our data and we said, when you're down, there's only one way to go, and that's up. And I would just like to thank 2 members of our instructional leadership team who are here tonight, Mrs. Darlene Chico and Mrs. Wendy Camargo. Again, we're working as a team. We're not happy with what the data has told us at the beginning, and you know, we are continuously just working and having the conversations on what our next steps are going to be. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Ms. Sampson. No? Okay.
I was wondering if you utilize the assessment. Oh, there it is. I was wondering if you utilize the assessment that comes along with your ELA program, the Wonders program. Does that data indicate anything different than the iReady, since the teachers are teaching from that curriculum and they're assessing directly from that curriculum?
You know, we're doing in between all of these big assessments, we're doing our common formative assessments. So we are using the programs, whether it's Wonders, Go Math. We just got Next Generation Math. So teachers are utilizing just those smaller, shorter assessments to attest the essential learning for that week, for the day. So I've had some teachers, I'm like, I want to hear the good things. So they're like, I have something to celebrate. Okay, bring it on. So-and-so, you know, was able to do this, or you know, we're seeing some growth based on STAR data. So there are some positives already coming, and we're just happy to have the students back in person so that we can teach them and they can learn.
I think it'd be beneficial for us to see the assessment, the whatever informal sporadic assessment that you do that's directly from the curriculum that you utilize, to see if the students are indeed learning that, because since this one isn't directly connected with the book that you teach from, I think that kind of data would be also important, because I know your teachers are working super hard. And I don't know if these are truly indicative of possibly where your teachers have been putting their information, you know, the kids.
We'll work on that. Yes.
What type of intervention are you using during the day? And,
So-
what is the program that you use for after school?
So for intervention, we're actually doing RTI. We're, teachers are regrouping students based on their needs, the medium, the highs, the lows. We have our instructional assistants working together with the teachers. And one program that we're all using right now is SIPS, which is, we just have a huge need in phonemic awareness. And we're going back to that. Even our fifth graders, we have a group of fifth graders that are working in phonics and phonemic awareness. So SIPS is one of them. And then after school, we're just pulling again from the same tools that we have, our same programs, and just doing reteaching, small groups. We're using manipulatives. We're seeing so many students unable, they just don't know their timetables. So just a lot of drilling that we're doing. But really the biggest need, I'm gonna say, is the social emotional. We're using the programs that we have to just make the students feel comfortable again, because we are seeing a huge need in that area. No, we're using Second Step and then also Capturing Kids' Hearts, which are two trainings that we received over the pandemic. Mhm. They're good. They're good.
So I would just like to say thank you so much for this presentation. And I know the students coming back after a year of being away, I know their very first thing is they want to be with their friends and see their friends. So that part of it is going to be, but I really like that you state your mission, vision, and you share how you're going to get back up. And I have no doubt that you will bring the scores back up, and that'll be really great. So anything we can do to support, just please share with us.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yes.
Good evening, Ms. Csea. So y'all are probably already doing this, but I do know that I already does have assignments as well. And if the staff is working on them probably at least 1 hour a week, it will help the kiddos, because the way that they create the assessments, the assignments look very similar from what I've seen. So I think they'll be very helpful for the kiddos to be able to see on a weekly basis what it is that they'll be assessing on. And I'm pretty sure y'all already doing it, but just wanted to throw it out there.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mean, honestly, we all say all we need is time, right? The time for sitting down, looking deeper into what the resources have to offer. And what I just keep telling the teachers, like, if you find something, share it with everybody, right? If there are some teachers that just like to spend a little more time digging into iReady or whatever other program, and you find a way, hey, this will work, this is working, share it with everybody. I'm inviting them to do it all, Don Julie and all, just share it out there, because not everybody has the time or the curiosity to spend the time and dig a little further. But we do like all the resources that iReady brings to us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 3, Edgewood Academy presentation.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. My name is Rosanna Hernandez. I'm the principal at Edgewood, and executive cabinet members. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to share some of our data with you today. These are some of our students at Edgewood Academy. Okay, and we'll start with the reading, and this is the iReady for reading, the ELA. So much like what was shared by Ms. Arceo, we're seeing very similar things. So if you look at what you're seeing in the reds, that's kind of what we're focusing on as a school. How do we get some of the students who are scoring a couple grades below grade level? How do we get them to keep moving to the left, to go to the yellow, to go to the green? So we do have quite a few students. If you notice, we have over 200 of our students did place in the red bands. And so that's kind of what we need to focus on, is trying to find ways to get them to move up the ladder. And this is kind of breaking it down. This is also iReady data. If you notice, what we noticed as a staff was how the reds increase as we move like towards middle school. So like if you notice the 6th, 7th, 8th graders, the gaps there are much wider. And so that's something that also we noticed. We compared the data with the other schools in our district, similar grades, and it's very common. So this is from benchmark results. So the iReady, what's interesting about the iReady was that was like right when the kids came back. It was in August. But this here is showing you like current data. This is the benchmarks that the students just finished taking in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade recently, but our elementary kids are actually almost done, almost all done. But I compiled the data based on what I had. Majority of the students are done. And it's actually not that bad, but we do have quite a bit of work to do. So for example, if you look at 1st grade, for ELA, 72% of our students are meeting and exceeding the marks, so that's good. But the other areas, for example, if you look at 4th grade, 77% are working towards or not meeting the marks. So we're just trying to break down the data as much as we can to try to figure out what we could do, what's lacking in each grade level so that we can succeed. And then this is just a graphic representation of the same thing I was telling you. I love graphs because it just kind of draws like a picture for me of what's happening. So if you look at like the dark pink and the light pink, it kind of gives you a comparison of what's happening. And now we'll look at the math data. So for math, it's again, very similar. Again, we had over 200 students who scored in the reds where they were 2 grade levels below, 3 grade levels below, but this was again back in August. This was just when they had come back from the pandemic. This is the overall, and the next screen, this one is showing you the breakdown. Very similar to what we saw with ELA. Okay, and then this is the current data we have. This is the benchmark results that the students are finished taking from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and they are almost done taking kindergarten through 5th grade. Okay, and then this again is like the graphic representation of what you just saw. Actually, our students are doing a little better with math. Like for example, in 8th grade, they are scoring a little bit better than they're doing better than they are in ELA. So that's kind of surprising, but it's good news for us. So yeah, we're just looking at every single piece of data that we could. The way we're going to monitor our progress is through common formative assessments. So these are actually done on a monthly basis. I'm really happy with the results that we're seeing with we call them the CFAs. So basically what happens is we are given time as a staff to meet with our grade levels and PLC. In the PLCs, the first week the teachers come up with the test, the formative assessment. The following week they give it, they grade it, then they go back together and then they share the results. And from these, we're seeing some really good results coming in. The students are doing really well. Like the teachers, when they grade on their notes, they have to write down how many students got what percentages. And so we were happy to see that quite a few of them are scoring in the 70, 80% range. So this is telling us, okay, we're moving towards something. We're going to be using common formative assessments on a weekly basis. The teachers have done a really good job doing that in their classes. We're also, of course, going to use the benchmark assessments and the iReady data. It's just that the benchmark and the iReady, we can't do all the time. You know how it's like we're doing it now, we'll do it at the end of the semester. That's why the common formative assessments are so helpful. They give us like on a weekly basis data that we can analyze and make improvements from. So I have 2 slides telling you what we're trying to do to improve where we are. Having our instructional aides that's been really helpful because in our kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade classes, that's where we're focusing the most help. All the instructional aides do is small group interventions. So the teacher is there teaching the class. In the back of the classroom, you have a table where the instructor is sitting there, and we just bought whiteboards, small whiteboards for every classroom. She's sitting there and going over problems one by one, helping the students with their needs. We have professional development. This year, we're working a lot on checking for understanding. I'm a very big fan of checking for understanding because what happens is when you're teaching a lesson, how do you know the students are understanding it? You have to frequently check understanding. And you can use that in different ways. There's so many different ways to check understanding. If you see majority of the students are not getting what you're teaching them, well, you've got to stop and do something else, reteach it, say it in a different way. And so we're working on that as a team. We have SMART goals that every single teacher wrote in the beginning of the semester. Come November, December, we're going to meet to see how we're doing, if they're meeting the goals. And what's really awesome is the teachers took it upon themselves to set goals with the students. So they have weekly goals, iReady, how many they're going to do, how much time they're going to spend on iReady, how much time they're going to spend on ST Math, how much on Lexia. So all the programs that the district has purchased for us, the teachers have goals for the students, and they almost all have data walls. You walk into the classrooms and you see them, like it says, this student has done this much this week. That student has done that much this week. And that's so awesome to see in our school. We have spiral reviewing we're going to do. We're going to use Next Gen Math, which was also thankfully purchased by our district for the students. We have after school tutoring. We have 14 teachers who have signed up to do after school tutoring. So that's going to be huge for us. Small group instruction. And we have our TOSA coming and working with our third graders for math. And that's the person who, a teacher at the district level who comes and helps. And of course, our vision for the school, we're going to do everything we can to empower the students to make good choices, to act responsibly, communicate effectively. And our mission statement is on the next slide. And it's right there. And basically what we're trying to do is, these are some of our students. We took pictures recently. We're going to do everything we can to help them achieve. The teachers are actually trying really, really hard right now. And today I'm accompanied by some of our parents. They're here, and some of our students. They came to show support. They also want to play their part. They want to do what they can to make sure that the students are succeeding. These are our 3 top goals that we're working on. Of course, top of the list, the student achievement. We want to see if we could bring some different things to the school, maybe something along the lines of IB Math, maybe Project Lead the Way. We're working as an ILT, our instructional leadership team, to find the focus for our school. And we're going to try to do some extracurricular activities also, besides what's being done by our district with Meet the Masters coming up and with sports coming up. We just started an ASB, and so we're going to see what we can do to have some more programs for our students.
Questions?
Tutoring be different from years before?
With after school tutoring, what's nice is the teachers are going to have a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. So for example, we had our TK teacher begin tutoring. She assessed, she wanted to focus on 5 letters because it's TK, right? They're little kids. So she gave an assessment on the first day. She told me 0 out of my 8 students who are going to come met the criteria. They didn't know the letters, the 5 letters. So she spent 3 weeks doing it. Today, she gave me the results, and I think she had almost all of them met the goal. They were able to identify not just uppercase, but lowercase letters. So that's what we're going to do. They have to set a goal, and then they have to, based on the standards, what standard they're teaching for the 3 weeks that's coming up, they give a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. So that way we could see, is the program effective?
You're also going to have a TOSA for 3rd grade math helping?
Yes, and she's incredible. We have a TOSA from the district office. She comes to us twice a week, and she works with our 3rd graders, and she does differentiated instruction. So like she does groupings where the students move table to table, and she tries different strategies depending on their needs to teach them math.
Yeah, improvement by the end of the year with all this.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Hernandez, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Item number 7, written communication. We do have a letter from LACO, unaudited actuals communication. Move on to item number 8, public comments. The Board of Education welcomes input from public in order to conduct district business in an orderly manner and for the privacy and safety of speakers and to help staff respond more directly. Board policies require that public presentations to board comply with certain procedures, including speakers may address only items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to state their name, address the board from the podium, and adhere to the applicable time limit of 3 minutes. Total time allotted for public input on agenda or non-agenda items is limited to 20 minutes. Complaints should follow the district complaint procedure before discussion with the board. First, we have Basa Teacher Association, PTA.
Good evening, Superintendent Alvarez, EUSD Cabinet, President Barajas, and Board of Education. I'm Wendy Camargo, 4th grade teacher at John Julian Elementary School, elected BTA E-Board Secretary and bargaining team member. I'm here to deliver this speech on behalf of all BTA members. Tonight you will find, I inhaled a little bit from my mask. Tonight you will find BTA has submitted its sunshine proposal for board approval to begin negotiations for the 2021-22 school year. As previously discussed, in negotiations, BTA would immediately submit our sunshine proposal to the district. In fact, one of our 2 negotiation leads, Tom Covington, submitted the proposal the day following BUSD's board approval of the collective bargaining agreement. BTA looks forward to beginning negotiations and eagerly awaits BUSD's sunshine proposal. Another item you will find on the agenda tonight are additional tutoring hours for very few or select teachers at very few or select school sites. 2 meetings ago, the district approved an average of 2.8 hours per teacher for the rest of the school year. That's it. This means students at these sites will receive approximately 6 minutes per week of after-school tutoring for the rest of the year. If divided by approximately 28 weeks after tutoring was board approved. If all students should be entitled to be offered opportunities for tutoring, wouldn't it make sense to provide equitable and reasonable allocations of time? BTA requests a reasonable amount of hours be offered to all school sites and all qualified BTA members. I don't know if you guys remember, 72 hours were approved. It seemed that it was going to be per teacher. Turned out it was per site for the year. We have lots of COVID money coming in that should really be allocated for our students for after-school tutoring and programs. Tutoring, continuing on here, tutoring is one of many ongoing concerns the district has with district level curriculum and instructional leadership. Another issue is teachers have not been provided a dual immersion report card because Bassett hasn't made one. Teachers are being stressed with unreasonable deadlines for report cards, and some programs such as dual immersion have a Thursday deadline for a non-existent form. It seems curriculum and instruction is making up content for the program as they go. In reference to the ESSER 3 monies, please be aware that the union input was emailed to all of you, board members, executive members. And as a direct quote from Dr. Kennard, she said she couldn't guarantee that we would have a follow-up meeting after she finished writing the SR3 plan. And sure enough, we didn't. Both unions are seeing this plan for the first time as presented in the board agenda. BTA relies on you, Board of Education, to listen to our input and truly analyze how the district defines, presents, and applies its consultation to the plans brought you, which is why BTA put our input in writing. Bassett needs to stop rushing decisions with emphasis placed on meeting deadlines and completing checklists. Instead, leadership needs to take time to value the expertise and input of staff. All decisions should revolve around effective ways to increase academic growth and close achievement gaps. We ask you to regularly contact our superintendent to stay updated on our members' informal concerns or allegations, so you are aware of certain school site, certain school site climates from the perspective of the employees who work there. If you haven't had the chance, please read the article BTA President Carla Mahaffey emailed to you, written by Jennifer U. Brannon, titled, "We Need to Make Schools Human Again. That means treating teachers with respect." If we apply the lessons and suggestions admirably discussed in this article, we would soon find student success would closely follow. Thank you for your time and listening tonight. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Margot. Next, we have California School Employee Association, CSEA. We move on to public comments. First, we have Michelle Sampson.
Hello, everybody. Michelle. I work as a classified sub for your school district. I have since 2019, before COVID. During COVID, I would call every semester and say, hey, are you taking subject? Are you taking subject? Recently, you guys got an excellent HR system called Frontline Asap. And essentially, it's a website where you can go in and see where people are going to be absent, and you can pick and choose which assignments you want to pick up. There's two parts to this. It also does a phone call. It'll start calling you, and you have to enter in a PIN and a user ID. I tried telling my HR person that I'm getting the calls and I need the ID and the PIN, and she just sent me my email address. And I'm like, no, this is the other part of the front line. I need because if you don't log in, it calls you 24/7. So I'm still getting calls. And I finally got to the point where I worked up the chain and I talked to the director, and it was just, they said, it's not, we don't have that. And I'm like, well, I'm getting these calls. My phone is ringing at midnight and one in the morning. So I didn't know who to talk to above the director of human resources. And then last month, I got a letter in the mail saying that they were letting me go because they got too many complaints about my work. I've only ever worked for you for one day at one school, Edgewood. I asked them after, did I do a good job? I called them after, did I do a good job? And the secretary said yes. So I don't know if you got me mixed up with another Michelle or if you think I'm being too aggressive, but I'm actually a really good worker. And I don't want to be let go because I'm asking you guys to use a resource that you have. I just am the type of person that's going to keep bugging you and say, hey, my phone's still ringing at 1 a.m. like it's still doing it now. So again, this is a resource that you guys could use. Right now, you guys are calling. If you don't have someone coming in, you're literally picking up the phone. Whereas you could automate that. You could put it on the auto thing and it would start calling people. It would go down the phone tree. But they don't know about it, so they can't use it. And also, P.S., I would really love to work for you guys again. Because I actually do really good work. And it seems like it was just a form letter that was sent out to me. It's like, you didn't get any complaints because I only worked one day. So that's just a general form letter. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sampson. Lastly, we have Ms. Apollonia Sullivan.
Okay, good evening, community. I just got the news that if I was going to get minutes, the rules have changed and I will be reading what I wrote until I read the rules that have changed. With that, I'm here to speak on a couple of things and to clear others. First, you know me. I wanted to I did an observation the landscaping of our schools, and I know with the cuts recently, it must be hard to maintain our schools grounds. With that, I would like to ask our landscapers, when cutting the bushes, please be advised that Rhonda Lance has been spotted hiding behind bushes. So please check before you cut. We don't want to hurt her. Fact, that's factual. Okay, I wanted to speak, as you know me, I've spoken about abuse, and that's the only reason my children are here. I want to remind everybody about Edgewood, Valdez at Edgewood, Gore at Sunkist now from Edgewood, Henson that was at Edgewood, now is at Banwick, 5150 Simpson, unknown location at this time. He's not in the grounds. Lens from Edgewood, ricochet to the high school. Covington, special assignment. We all know what special assignment is. Special assignments, we can fire you. We don't know what to do with you, so we'll just create a job, pay you more, and do less work. Simpson, 5150 is not in school because he decided to call a child of ours in this community scum. Not only that, he became agitated and angry and confrontational like he's done for many years, including with me, with our new principal that I just happened to meet. Now that it's happening to an employee, we're gonna go ahead and listen to what the community has been saying. Ms. Lance called him a hothead in front of me and another parent. A hothead is working with our children. Make note of that, community. So he's not because of his hot head. Ms. Lance, while she was supervisor, she was put as a principal of the school, knowing well that she was a lover, past lover of Ms. Rose, having a sexual relationship. That's called conflict of interest, if I'm not mistaken. But after all the mayhem she does, and the decisions that a lot of you already knew this story, still voted her to put her in there. And then you act like you don't know what happened, or why our parents are leaving, or why our children are being abused or disenchanted with education. There's a very small group of teachers that have gotten away with murder, like the ones that I just mentioned to you. And unfortunately, the good ones that are left to fend for themselves from Carla Mahaffey, because instead of taking care of the torch right here of these teachers, while they were going through some hard times, she told them to their faces, I have better things, figure it out yourselves. Am I lying, community? One of you is gonna call me a liar? And then she went to proceed and defended Rhonda Lance because she was moved from principal, not a paying member of the union. Totally illegal. Using resources for her instead of her own people. I feel sorry for them because it sounds like they've been abused just like our children. And I wrote everything that all the teachers done, but why am I gonna talk about it? You already know. Hanson punished a little girl for not bringing money for pictures, made her walk with a backpack heavier than the little girl during lunch where the staff saw, during recess, with a huge backpack that the community saw. And Ms. Montes, wow, good advocacy for our children. What was done? We just moved the trash around. Carla Mahaffey finds me revoking. She says that I accused her in a letter that she wrote on September 23rd, 2020 to none other than mental abuser Leslie Valdez and Nolosco at Human Resources, that I somehow accused her of being a sexual predator. Maybe she has something to tell me because I did not know she was that. I said sexual predators have been proving that fondle the breast of our girls, like David Bay Jenny that finally decided to retire because couldn't take my face in the corner. Remember him? And then the other one in the continuation that didn't rub, but literally put his hands on breast that you all know about, but you will not talk and tell the community. I was referring to those, not to Carla Mahaffey. Carla Mahaffey finds it offensive that I say that in this district, they move white teachers like the Catholic Church moves priests around. That's a fact. That's a fact. I just gave you names. Also, she says that Miss French told her and many other people that because of English not being my primary language, she was not, she was told by Miss French that she had to assess me, and some board members toned down my emails because English was not, because such language from a person like myself couldn't come up or write those things. We call that racism, bigotry, but we're gonna go ahead and ignore that and not address. In the last meeting for DLAG, we discussed, why are our parents moving? Why are parents going? How come they don't engage anymore? Because they seen the shit show you guys done with me. And I am a truthful person, and I call names and dates, and I have a face that I say. I don't say behind doors. So they saw what happened to me, and you know what they decided? It's not worth it. We're gonna shut up. We're not gonna engage. We're just gonna move. There's a movement of students that you guys are not seeing. You wait, if those grades don't go up or people are not held accountable, there's gonna be more students leaving. But why? Why? Because we are not addressing the abuse that is going on. I will finish my time. I promise you this today. You could call Jonas. So
Ms. Sullivan, what was your time?
one of my friends
Ms.
called me to
Sullivan, what was your time?
volunteer. One of my friends called me
What was
to
your time, Ms.
volunteer
Sullivan?
at the high school. At the high
Okay.
school.
Thank you, Ms.
Give me life,
Sullivan.
give me life. One of my friends told me to volunteer to collect $5.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan.
One of
The board will be
the
taking a
officers,
recess
one
at this
of the
time.
security officers that used to harass.
Can we call a motion to reconvene? I'm calling a motion to reconvene our regular board meeting. Can I get a motion?
Is this the motion to open the public
Reconvene.
hearing regarding the initial proposals?
This is, we're gonna go into board member comment.
Board meeting went into recess, and now you're asking for motion to reconvene.
So moved.
I'll second it myself. Roll call. Fourth. Rivera. Reconvene. Rivera.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
And aye. Motion carries. The board is reconvening at 7:33. Item number 9, board member comments. Mrs. Flores.
Hello, everybody, Basa community. Thank you so much for those of you that are attending here. Thank you for those of you who are live streaming us. Again, I would like to say my thank you to Ms. Martha Arceo, DJ, and Dr. Hernandez at Edgewood. Thank you so much for your presentations. As I said before, I know it's really difficult coming back after a year, and everybody, I mean, I work in higher ed, and we're even trying to figure out how to come back so to some type of normalcy and things like that. And there's a lot of things to look at. So, but I'm very confident that you'll be able to bring us back to where we need to be and get Bassett up there. So again, I'd like to welcome Ms. Elizabeth Maldonado, hoping to have an opportunity to see you and talk with you. Also, okay, so I have been busy. I got to attend the football game last Friday, which we did get a win. That was really great. I'm excited for this Friday to go over to, where am I going? Oh, I'm going to La Fuente. So if they win this game, they win league. And then they'll have an opportunity to go to CIF, which is the first time, and I don't even know how long it's been that football went to CIF. Congratulations also to the girls volleyball team. I heard they won first round CIF, so that's really great. And as I said, I was at the game last Friday. It was really good to see all the parent support, the volunteers and everything. Shout out to Miss Marissa Gomez and to Miss Irene Herrera for all the work that they did. And thank you to Mr. Arellanes for making it possible. Senior day was so nice. It was very nice because I know students remember those things. You know, these are memories. High school years are supposed to be the best years of your life. I know they were mine. So yes, I'd also like to say thank you to Dr. Alvarez. I feel a really big pain when it comes to the HVAC, okay? And the pool. So these are things that we're doing for our students, resources. I'm very happy that they're doing that. Dr. Hernandez, I really want to give a shout out to you for the ASB. I'm very passionate about ASB. I do, as I mentioned, I work in higher ed and I work for the student government in higher ed. So teaching our students how to be leaders, advocate, and use their voices is really good. So I did have an opportunity to help her with the parking lot along with Ms. Rivera here. So great work. We're making, you know, this is really great. Let's continue forward. And as always, let us know how we as a board can better support. Thank you, Basa.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I'd like to thank Don Julian and Edgewood for your presentations. They were really good. Also like to welcome the new principal at Torch, Ms. Maldonado, who is, by the way, homegrown, started at Don Julian Torch in the high school. And it's great for them to come back and help in their own community. And her parents are still around in the community, so it's great for her to be here. I also know that we'll have a long road ahead of us in trying to catch up our students. And it's not just us, it's every district in this country. Trying to catch up after the pandemic that we were out for, what, a year and a half, 2 school years. And it's gonna be hard, but if we all work together and not just put ourselves first, but put the students first, because that's what we're here for, is the students. That's the business we're in. If we could put the students first, I know that we could all get them advanced and to achieve and get to the level that they should be at this time right now. I know we could do it if we all, like I said, if we all work together and stop pointing fingers and stop looking at each other, but work together. And thank you to all the principals that are here and staff that's here, executive board, and for helping and doing everything that you could for our students. That's what we're here for. Thank you, Mr. Coy, for starting the Head Start and getting those students ready and ready to go into TK and kindergarten. I noticed that a lot of the kindergartens this year didn't have TK, so their grades went down. Usually they're a little higher. And I know the Head Start wasn't functioning full time either. So that was very hard for the students. And as a parent, it was very hard for me too. So I know it was very hard for a lot of us parents. We can't do the job that you're doing. That's not what we are. But thank you, principals, for being here. Mr. Tavai, thank you for staying. And I'd like everybody to have a happy and safe Halloween. And enjoy the day, enjoy the week and the evening with your family. Thank you.
Good evening, Bassett. First and foremost, I must acknowledge and give a big shout out to Bassett volleyball and football. Outstanding. Cross country, amazing. And to the two principals that came and presented their data, I have no doubt that you won't bring up those scores. I know how diligent Martha is, and I am very sure that you'll be doing the same thing. It sounds like you've already got a plan. And I have to say something for everyone out there who's battled or is battling breast cancer. I must acknowledge Breast Cancer Awareness Month by saying, get checked. All you ladies out there, and even men. Early mammogram diagnosis saves lives. And I'm not saying this to make points. I'm a survivor. And while it's mostly to the most of you, it's just October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. To a survivor, it's every day for the rest of their lives. October 30th, 2012 changed my life forever. So go get a mammogram. Do it for you and do it for the people who love you. Also, special recognition for National Red Ribbon Week. Support others that you love to get drug-free. Now back to Bassett. We're so focused on our budget, and we have been for months and months and months, that we're missing, I believe, the real problem. No, we can't run a district without money, but the real issue goes beyond that. It's like we're trying to keep a boat afloat while the water level is constantly decreasing. The big issue here is the water, not the boat. You see, the boat is the budget. And while the water is our student population, it is constantly dwindling. Our students keep leaving, and unlike a colleague who wants to know where they're going, FYI, we all know that. We'll find out when we get that CUME request. We need to ask them why. If we knew why, we could start to fix it. While it may be a solely locational reason, costs are really going up around here in Bassett, what if it's for the perceived better education, perceived better programs, or to get away from bullying, retaliation, fights, weapons, or drugs? We need to know. If we know, we can fix it. I'm also told that we can do nothing about incurring costs, but I don't agree. I'm also told that the high school is a wash, a lost cause. There's nothing we can do, but I completely disagree with that. Bassett High School once housed an OI department that was a model for the entire county. Now it lays nearly empty. Bassett High School has had a history of excellence in programs, activities, and sports. Our drama department was alive with things like even Shakespeare. Our band has never lost recognition at any competition. Girls softball, track, soccer, along with the other sports, rounded out the complete Olympian. And our swim and water polo teams were enormous. Granted, a few of the things I mentioned were involving the arts, but studies have shown consistently that participation in the arts improves student participation and attendance. And now more than ever, the arts provide for a therapeutic vent for emotions, much needed by our students at this time, as a multitude of recent studies have supported. We have Second Step. We have the heart program. We need to address that even more because our kids are hurting. Our kids don't know how to vent their hurt. They don't know how to express what they're feeling after coming off a pandemic, losing family, not understanding the changes and having their grades drop for no reason that they understand. So what can we do with little or no funds? We can rebrand the district. We can rebrand Bassett, change the people's perception of it. Over a year ago, well, maybe two, a young man spoke before this board and he talked about how his small company could had rebranded a local city. We could do that ourselves. We've got trained people to do it. Number two, begin with getting some good press. At each board meeting, we hear a little bit about what goes on at each schools. We need to let the world know about the great things. Van Wyck has a puppetry group. Everybody should know that. That is awesome. We have so many different activities going on so many places, and I haven't seen it in the newspaper. In fact, I just heard about the puppetry group. We could rework the school structure with out-of-the-box thinking. We already have excellent art and ceramics experiences. We can develop that. We can use our best and brightest teachers as motivational speakers and cut the high cost of outsiders coming in and speaking. We can encourage community mentoring. Okay, just as I volunteer to lead the drama group over at Bassett, we have some amazing members in our community that probably would volunteer to do some things to mentor our students. And many of these people are Bassett graduates themselves. They could provide for mentoring or apprenticeships. I mean, talk about a real life Common Core experience. If they got involved with entrepreneurship or hospitality, and they're huge fields right now, our students would be able to explore these at no cost to us. We could build community and business partners because it takes a village, right? We could establish more inviting pathways using the courses we already have. Remember, it's all in how we package it. I'm going to implore our district leadership to start creatively thinking outside the box before the water goes too shallow. Yes, our families may still move, but we should never lose students to neighboring districts because they offer more programs or more perceived safety. Our job in a school district is to educate. We cannot do that without students. We as a board need to show good faith to our children, to our community, and to our staff as we advocate for them. As I've said before, we have to stop playing catch up. It's time to lead. Our little district can do amazing things with our amazing kids, our amazing families, and our amazing staff as soon as we focus on the students first. Good night, Bassett. And be safe.
Thank you, Ms. Dancioni. First and foremost, although we did do this a couple of weeks ago, I do want to welcome Ms. Maldonado again to the Basa Unified School District. She's been part of our district, now she's employed by district. So we do welcome you. We're excited to have you. We're really excited to have you. So thank you for being here with us. Ms. Arceo, Ms. Hernandez, thank you for sharing the data. I do understand that it doesn't look too nice. However, you all shared it. The diagnostics were taken August. So it does provide us a roadmap of where we're going to go afterwards. So I'm glad to see that all of you have strategies to combat that, because at the end of the day, that's what we look at. What is it that we're doing to fix it? We know that there was learning loss. It's not just happening in Bassett, it's happening nationwide, worldwide. A lot of journals out there were predicting it. So we're seeing it now. Of course, my hopes is that we start narrowing it one day at a time. So I do appreciate you all coming up with a plan to tackle this problem that is it's affecting the entire world to an extent. I do appreciate that. Mr. Tavai, thank you for being here as well. Appreciate your presence. Community members, teachers who are here, thank you for being here as well. Just as my colleague shared, I also want to congratulate our girl varsity team for playing fearlessly. You know, seeing a few of the games, girls are awesome. So I'm glad to see that they've reached the level they've reached. Cross country team, our football team, it's awesome. It's awesome to see that our kiddos are out there again. They're playing sports, they're competing, they're playing with heart. They're playing with heart. So I just love that. I just want to leave you all with hoping everyone has a safe Halloween. For those of you who celebrate, I hope you all have a great Dia de los Muertos. And last but not least, I hope you all have a great Veteran Day celebration. With that, good night, Bassett. Stay gold. We move on to item number 10, notice of public hearing. Item 1, conduct an open public hearing regarding the sunshine proposals. Pursuant to Government Code Section 3547C, Board of Education shall hold an open public hearing to enable the public to become informed and have opportunity to express itself regarding the initial proposals. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
So I heard Ms. Rivera move, and I heard Ms. Anzioni second. The public hearing is open at 7:47. Comments regarding public hearing. At this moment, anyone could give publics regarding the public hearing. No comments? Thank you. That being said, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Stanzioni. And I heard a second by Ms. Rivera and Ms. Flores. Thank you. Roll call.
Are you gonna hear my eye?
Again?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Aye.
Stanzioni and I. Carries 4-0. It is closed at 7:48. We move on to item number 11, discussion action items. Number 1, BTA initial sunshine proposal. Can I get a motion to approve the sunshine proposal?
So moved.
Second.
And second by Ms. Stanzioni. Mrs. Flores, on roll call, Mrs. Flores?
Aye. Aye.
Mrs. Guerra?
Aye.
And I, motion carries 4-0. Item number 2, application for readmission of student case number 1042371. Can I get a motion to approve?
I motion to reinstate student with the stipulation, student gets the support they need.
Support they need.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Flores,
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Sanjioni. All right, and motion carries 4-0. Item number 3, so this one we're open for discussion. Appoint candidates to Citizen Law and Oversight Committee effective October 26, 2021. At this point, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education considers the following applicants to the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee effective October 26, 2021. The names are Rose Guidiel Escobar, PTA President, and Mina Reynoso, Parent. So can we open it for discussion or you want to?
I motion to approve Rose Gudiel Escobar and Mina Reynoso to the Citizen Bond Oversight.
Okay, thank you. I'll second that.
He's already on.
There's 2 names. I'm sorry.
He's already on. Jonathan Mejorado is already on the right.
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Rivera?
Yeah. Aye.
Sanjioni?
Aye.
And I, motion carries 4-0. Item number 4, Hazard 3 Expenditure Plan Presentation. Dr. Medina Knark.
Good evening, Board President Barajas, board members, or superintendent and community of Bassett. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present information regarding the elementary and secondary school emergency relief expenditure plan. Next slide. Tonight's presentation will include an overview, the requirements of the plan, the components of the plan, and the community group's engagement and actual excerpts of the expenditure plan. The American Rescue Plan Act is the 3rd round of federal stimulus funding passed by the United States Congress and signed into law March 2021. The act requires 2 different plans. On the right, you'll see the 2 plans listed: the Safe Return to In-Person Instruction and Continuity of Services Plan, and the expenditure plan, which is a plan that we will go into more detail this evening. The following slides will address the requirements of the plan. So the first requirement is to have community group input to develop the plan, then submit for board adoption, and then submit to LACO once we have that board adoption within 5 days. And then we need to obligate the funds by September the 30th, 2024. The programmatic requirements include that minimum 20% apportionment must be used to fund interventions to address students' academic, social, emotional, and mental health needs. Additionally, interventions to address the opportunity gaps that existed before the pandemic. And lastly, which is new to this plan, we haven't seen this requirement in plans in the past, in the recent past, and that is to monitor the progress of our plan. The community engagement requirements were as follows. We need to work with our community groups to identify specific student and school needs. And then we needed to get information that they would provide insight into prevention strategies that would address both the different plans that we needed to write. The next slide, please. The fiscal requirements are, again, a minimum of 20% of the apportionment must be used for expenditures related to addressing the academic, the social, emotional, and mental health needs of our students. And then there's a list of different ways that we could have done that. Also, 80% of the apportionment can be used in much the same way as the ESSER 1 funds as well as the ESER 2 funds. The components of the plan, again, this is a little bit different from our prior plans. We were able to refer to different plans that we've written in the past. So in this plan, you'll see a reference to the ELO plan, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Plan, as well as the LCAP. The next section of the plan itself is a summary of the ESER expenditures, the community engagement, and then the actual actions and expenditures. And lastly, there's a section there for a description of the monitoring of the progress of the plan. The next couple of slides address the engagement of our community groups. So we began in September 29th with a parent meeting. And we just recently, we had all of the meetings that we listed there, as well as most recently we met with our San Gabriel Valley SALPA director and our Bassett SPED director. And then below that, you'll see a list of efforts that the district made to consult with our labor unions. And there's an itemized list of some of the things that we've done in that capacity. Next slide, please. So the engagement timeline, we also had an opportunity for surveys to be completed. One survey was a staff survey, another survey was a parent community survey, and the last one was a student survey. And then we also received feedback, written feedback, BTA consultation, Csea consultation, and also our VAPA department at Bassett High School submitted some feedback and some ideas and perspectives on use of the funds. So the next couple of slides here are actually charts from the survey results. They are depicting actually our survey results. So I'd like to call your attention, first of all, to the 2 columns on the right. Those are our parent results and our staff results. Those that strongly agree or agree to the statements listed there. The first row shows a difference in opinion, 83%, 49%. Not sure why, but that was the results of that question there. But the next 3, you can see very high percentages of agreement in the high 90s, and one is 100%, as you see there, that we must, the district must use, or the recommendation is that we use our funds for our air filtration system. And then the next slide was we listed on our surveys several statements about the most effective use of the funds. And you can see here we have another column, and that's the students. So effective time, the most effective time of academic intervention. We listed after school Saturdays. We know that high schoolers say no on Saturday mornings. So we heard that loud and clear. That is not something they want to see. Most people, as you can see here, parents, staff alike, agree that that during the school day would be the best time, the most effective time to have academic interventions. The areas that most students need most help in, we saw similar responses from our parents and our staff. Additional support staff, the most effective way, instructional assistants, 95% of parents agree and 84% of our staff agree. And then our students said instructional, 81% agreed that instructional aids in the classrooms help me learn or understand the content. A couple of rows here, we see that there was a question about most effective use of the funds for social emotional learning and mental health needs. And there was a high percentage of agree and strongly agree to that. Additional support for our student groups, our SPED students, our English learners, our foster youth, homeless, and economically disadvantaged. And we had a very high percentage of respondents that said, yes, that would be effective use of our money. And then just that last box, if I could go back very quickly, the last box on the right on the bottom, those are our students who identified themselves. They identified themselves, 75% of the students that responded, and I believe there was about 360 student responses. So we were happy about that. We thank the teachers for allowing the students to take the survey. 75% of the students identified as English learners, 20% as special education, 3% as foster, and 1% student experiencing homelessness.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So the last slide here shows how the plan was influenced by the input. And here, the first couple of bullets, you can see that the air quality was addressed in the plan. During the school day, we heard that from the responses, and you can see in black bolded at the end of each sentences is what you'll see in the actual plan. So they're interventionists for during the school day at each school site and instructional assistants. The additional support for our special populations. So again, you'll see in the plan a separate instructional assistant for English learners at each school site and a different instructional assistant for our SPED students at the school site. We did speak to, I'm not sure if it was a clinical therapist or who I was speaking. Oh, I believe it was our San Gabriel Valley director, SELPA director, and talked about the need to have an aide, a special ed aide available, because sometimes we are seeing students with some, they need a minute. They have a time that they need some social emotional support. And so we have this aide, maybe a rover at the school site that would be able to support student needs. And so we identified a special ed aide at each school site. And then we also heard that the long-term substitute teachers, we need to support the continuity of learning at each site. And so you will see that those were also added to the plan. Additional support staff in the support for social, emotional, mental health. And we added some community liaisons. And then lastly, or right here toward the end, we have the visual and performing arts support. We're really happy to receive this direct support from this department, and happy to see that there were some areas that definitely were able to utilize the funds to support their needs. Another input piece that we had was some synergy hardware enhancements to address the tardy policy. And we were able to write that into the plan. And then of course, some technological support continuing with our staff and our materials and supplies. Next slide. So that's the presentation that I have for you this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question. And please indulge me because can you hear me? Okay, so is that it? So not quite understanding this community engagement requirements. To me, community engagement is all that you mentioned. I'm curious to know how many parents actually completed the survey. Staff, was there an opportunity anywhere on that? I apologize, I didn't see the survey, but was there an opportunity for them to like added comments on there? Could they comment on the survey? And the reason I say this is because based on the two presentations that we had just earlier today, it's like in my head, the survey this community engagement requirements don't speak to the presentations that we had. The other one, fiscal requirements, one of them, 20% a portion must be used for expenditures related to addressing academic impact of loss. So we have I forgot, was it, oh yes, it was Edgewood that is saying that they're having after school tutoring. You know, that's going to be one of those. Will they be able to have that? Are we going to make sure that these teachers are funded to be able to have that after school tutoring? And then lastly, let me know if I'm going too fast here. Oh, what was that last one here? Yes, here, the strategy. HVAC system works properly. I'm really concerned. 83% of the parents said yes. If 83% said yes, then why are we doing this? You know, the system was working, but I personally don't think it is, because I know for the high school, it wasn't working at all. This is what we advocated for it to be fixed. And then mostly on the campuses, these HVAC systems need to be strongly addressed. Effective time of academic intervention during the school day, 86% of the parents said yes, that we're effectively using the day. But, and I know that they're coming back from a year of learning loss, but the grades don't speak to this. So how informed are the parents when when completing these surveys? And I hope my questions all make sense.
Well, I tried to capture them all, so let me try to respond to them. And if I miss anything, please just let me know. So I don't have the actual numbers of parents and staff that responded. I do know that we had a very high number, well, higher than normal number of students, which were over 360 students that responded. But I'm certainly happy to share that information, the number of students that did, or parents and teachers that did complete. We did put the surveys out we had a presentation first, and then we shared, as you saw, the list of items that we shared with the staff and were shared with others. So that would be the instructions for the plan. So, and had a presentation with all the components and requirements and those kinds of things for parents, for teachers. And then the surveys were open for, I want to say, a week or 2 weeks. And then we would send emails. I believe in this plan, we sent emails reminding to complete. But actual number of people that completed, I don't have that with me, but I'm happy to get that to you. As far as the after-school tutoring, there's a misunderstanding, there's miscommunication with that. So there's definitely more funds available for the after-school tutoring. There are various sources of funds. And so that was one pocket of funds. And usually it's for those that want to participate in the after-school tutoring program. They're able to, we identify the students that have the need, and then the school bills their intervention or after-school program. And that's one bucket of money, so to speak, that the students are able, that the teachers and the admin are able to utilize. But there's other sources for after-school tutoring, including in the ELO plan. So we're definitely have additional funding for that after-school tutoring. So that won't be a problem. The PRs, you'll see them coming through. Can you re-ask me some of the other questions you had? I'm sorry.
You answered the fiscal.
About the 49% and the 80% of those parents that thought it was effective. The only thing I can think, because the other scores, as you see there on the, can you, Liz, is there a way you can bring that, yes, thank you, that chart back up? This one, perfect. So as you can see, the rest of the questions were answered 100%, and we're needing to improve our indoor quality or the classroom or the work area, and the HVAC system should be routinely maintained and repaired. And we had very high percentages across the board agree to that. So the only thing we can think about there is perhaps it was a question that wasn't understood well, but we would say that our staff are here in the schools and the work sites and would have a better understanding if the air conditioning is working properly or not. So that's about the most likely explanation I can have for that, but I do call your attention to the 3 bottom rows or the 3 rows that follow, and they're all very consistently high that we do need to address our air filtration system. And then did you have another question?
I think no, this is okay. Just the questions where the results vary from what we're actually seeing. I think if a simple survey, them filling out a survey is not working, as you mentioned, some people don't understand the question, then it doesn't help where we're headed. So I know that when we have the fiscal stabilization plan, you get a group of community members to come in and state you got, well, what they did is they got people from the different units. Right. And here we talked about this, and concern here is community. I mean, we're here for the benefit of the students. So we need to hear from community more and not just have them fill out my opinion, okay, fill out a survey where they might not necessarily understand the questions. So to me, it is concerning that, as I mentioned earlier in my comment, I'm very passionate in making sure that the HVACs all work and they all get new HVACs and stuff. But to hear that 83% of them said they're fine with it, that is concerning. and the effective time of academic intervention. So, yeah,
I
so
think,
we need to, I would like to see our surveys kind of more closely to what we're actually seeing, possibly.
So the question I think that you're referring to is about the most effective use of our instructional time. I believe that was asking if it would be during the school day intervention, after school, or on Saturdays. What would be the most effective time for us to have interventions? And so 83, or the number that you're referring to, is referring to the number of parents and teachers that felt that having during the school day interventions was the most effective use of the intervention time. So we should do the interventions. Most of them agreed or strongly agreed that it would be best during the school day. But, and I would 100% agree, getting our community feedback and our, we did reach out, and we did have, as you can see there, it's all listed, but your points are well noted.
If possible, I'd also like to see the numbers of respondents.
Sure.
I have one question regarding the social, emotional, and mental health needs. It is tough to swallow to see that only 82% of our staff believes that we're working adequately, and of course ensuring that our kiddos are coming to school and are being taken care of. That being said, I did see that we're adding additional support, and we do have the program Second Step, but that's kind of like a prepackaged curriculum type of thing. I think it will do well to probably reach out to staff and ask if they're interested in some type of PD. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But ensuring that there's probably like a more rapport understanding of some of the issues that are probably truly impacting a lot of the kiddos, especially kiddos in our community as well. And not only just focusing on the academic all the time, but making sure that the social emotional needs are being taken care of, right? Because if they are being taken care of, more than likely their chances to succeed in school and research courses are much higher. So I think that'll be something for us to take advantage of, especially when we have 82% saying that we're there. The other percentage are saying we probably have to work on it. Only my comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Laura?
Yes. How are we going to monitor the progress?
So in the actual plan, we talked about some quarterly meetings from different departments. The plan that was posted on the website toward the end, what we did was, for example, the academic portion, we have our program specialist, myself, will have quarterly meetings. We'll analyze data. We'll see what our interventions are, what our data is showing, like we did today. The data that was presented today from the school sites, this is what we do in our principal meetings, and we have principals come and present what their data looks at, particularly at their school site, and then we brainstorm with them how we might support them in the plans that they have at their school. So we're continuing that process, as well as having quarterly meetings to ensure that the funding, the plans that we've made here will address the students' needs and the staff needs. And then, for example, with the 80% for the air filtration that we're suggesting under this plan, I think we put in there business services, as well as our maintenance and operation will have quarterly meetings to manage the progress of how that's the implementation of that plan. And the last one, I believe, is our student services department. Will be meeting quarterly to address the social, emotional, and mental health needs. So that's also progress monitoring on a quarterly basis. In addition to what's happening now, I know our student services has a, I want to say at least every other week, maybe once a month. They're meeting with the counselors. That's led by our student services team. And they're talking about just what Mr. Barajas was talking about. We have had a couple of school district-wide PDs with Capturing Kids' Hearts, Thrively, Second Step. So these are programs that we purchased for the different levels. And so we've had our professional development in those areas, as well as ongoing meetings with our counselors and our SOAs at the site, so we could address the needs of the students and the staff.
I have a question about the capturing kids' hearts. I know second step quite well, and I know that it's not real adequate once you get through the lessons. Capturing kids' hearts, does it not create an atmosphere or a more of a philosophy that can extend past the day?
Yes.
That's good. Thank
absolutely,
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
One last thing. Was PTA, did the surveys go out to PTA?
The surveys went out to, that was posted on our website. And so we put out an NTI for all parents in our community, but it was on the website as well as staff. We sent I believe this one we sent to all users. The survey is available for everybody to complete. And then students, we sent it to our principals and we asked them to please forward to our teachers so that our teachers could support our students in completing the survey. The students this time, we went to grade 5 through grade 12.
This is a huge undertaking. I thank you for manning this, just because it is so incredibly important coming off of a pandemic, which we're still experiencing.
Absolutely.
The tail end of this is amazing. I look forward to how much more we do with it. You mentioned the summer program, the enrichment. That's where the kids need it. We don't need them sitting home anymore on a computer, do we?
No, and I think somebody mentioned earlier about the meeting the masters. We're really excited about bringing that and some sports programs back for our students to enjoy as well, addressing especially the social emotional needs. Okay. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. So that being said, item number 4, ESER 3 expenditure plans. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
So Mr. Rivera moves, Stanzioni second. Roll call. Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye, motion carries 4-0. Item number 12, consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be items that will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board votes on motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Flores?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Stanzioni?
Aye.
And aye, motion carries 4-0. Item number 13, adjournment. Item 1, our next regular board meeting will be November 16, 2021. Item number 2, adjournment of regular board meeting of October 26, 2021. Can I get a motion?
Second.
All right, roll call. Ms. Flores?
Aye.
And aye. Motion carries. Our meeting is adjourned at 8:17 p.m. Good night, Basa community.